I'd like to call this December 14th, 2020 public hearing and regular school board meeting of the San Felipe Del Rio CISD Board of Trustees to order. This meeting will be conducted by video conference in accordance with the governor's authorization concerning suspension of certain open meeting law requirements for COVID-19 coronavirus disaster. Madam Secretary, would you call roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Contreras?
Present.
Ms. Guanajuato Webb?
She's muted.
Present.
Here, okay. Okay, Ms. Haynes?
Here.
Mr. Mesa?
Here.
Mr. Overfelt? Mr. Overfelt? Mr. Smith?
He's muted. Mr.
He's muted. They're both muted, but they're here. Okay.
Yes.
Self?
Present, I'm here.
Okay, good. We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. Let the record show that we do have a quorum of board members and that this meeting has been duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. At this time, we will have opening ceremonies, first with a moment of silence for personal reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
We're good now.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Again, as I mentioned, we will be having actually two public hearings. And there is an item that will be moved up on the agenda, and that's item 13C. It does have to do with an item before the consent agenda. But we'll start with our first item on the agenda, which is recognitions. First item is 4A, Fine Arts.
Mr. Mesa, do we need to acknowledge Josh's presence in that or no?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Yes, Ms. Gonzalez did mention that their mics were muted, so we do have Mr. Ofra present tonight, and also Mr. Contreras and Mr. Ken Smith as well. Thank you, sir. Again, 4A, Fine Arts, Del Rio High School Band State Qualifier. Dr. Rios?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mesa, at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Rios to join us from Ram Stadium, where they're preparing for tomorrow's state competition. Mr. Rios?
Good evening, Mr. Mesa. Good evening, Dr. Rios and members of the board. Yes, we're here at Ram Stadium. We have a good number of parents and just community out here that came out to support us. We're doing our send-off performance. We started off with a rehearsal at 4:30, and now in just a little bit we're going to be putting the show on for our parents. So it's a great accomplishment that these kids undertook. We have never been to the state finals ever through band. And so this year, through all the hard work and dedication that these kids never let up, even through this pandemic, we were actually able to make it into these finals. We came in second place in our area, which qualified us to advance. And I want to just thank the administration overall for giving us this opportunity, because I know not all of the schools were able to do that. But we're very thankful that we did have this opportunity to be able to compete to still have a season. And what a season it's been, because tomorrow at 1:42 in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome, we're going to be competing for the Class 6A state marching contest finals. And so we're extremely proud of these kids, of the parents, everyone, the directors. I want to thank Mr. Morales from at the high school, Miss Banel, Mr. Medina, Miss Rodriguez from the dance company, Miss Sandoval with her color guard, our middle school directors, Mr. Brijalva, Mr. Bassler, and down from the 6th grade, we also have Mr. White, and then we also have Mr. Dolahanty. So we're very, very, very happy and pleased with this outcome, and again, it's a team effort, not just from the directors, but with our students, our administration, our parents, everybody together. So it's been an incredible run. Tomorrow, that's it. There isn't anything after that because it's the state finals, and so we're at the top of the mountain at this point, and so it's just a great honor that we're going to be able to represent our community, our high school, at the state marching finals in the Alamo Dome. There's only going to be 20 bands there from around this great state of Texas, and we're one of those 20. So it's a big privilege, it's a big honor, and just super excited that we're going to be able to have this opportunity to be there. And so, yeah, in a nutshell, it's like, words can't describe what these kids have done and the feelings. It's just been great. So we want to thank again our administration for the opportunity that we were given, and to be able to get to this point. So we made history, and it's been great. So thank you very much.
Mr. Rios, I want to congratulate you and all your staff. I know when we received the information, it blew up on social media, and the community is so involved. I've seen digital signs that do have the information for the competition, urging parents to be at the Alamo Dome. But it's, again, the commitment from all the band directors and all the students as well. Parents have done a tremendous job as far as the band boosters and beyond. But I want to say congratulations. I would like to open it up for other board members again to comment on this great accomplishment. And again, it's an all-out effort from each adult and young person that is representing us so well at the state level. Congratulations again.
Thank you, President Mesa.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to open it up. I can see a hand somewhere. Mr. Orfeld.
Yes, echo what Mr. Mesa said. Congratulations. It's great for the school district, for the community, for y'all to have gotten to this point, and especially during this pandemic, at the end of the year, it is a shining light and kind of a beacon of light and hope there, and we're behind you 100%. So yes, congratulations. Be sure to tell all the directors and the kids especially that they are making this town very, very proud.
Yeah, we've actually we're transmitting through the speakers here at Ram Stadium. So can you hear the crowd clapping? Thank you.
See someone else? I can't see everyone.
Ms. Webb and Mr. Contreras.
Okay, Mrs. Webb.
Mr. Rios, all of the staff working with you, congratulations. Congratulations to all of the students, because I know it takes hours and hours of practice. Congratulations to the parents for having them there to practice. You all do a fantastic job. Without your leadership, nothing is possible. So thank you and all the directors. And again, congratulations to each and every student that will be completed. Great job.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And more clapping from the audience, yes.
And now, Mr. Contreras.
Hey, hey, Dr. Rios and everybody, the band, all the kids, all the parents freezing out there right now. Congratulations. You guys did a great job. And like what Mr. Overfeld said, you know, coming through and pushing through this pandemic and this situation we're in, it's a great accomplishment from the kids, from the students, the parents, the administration, the band directors, everybody as a whole, as a team. Great job, guys. Awesome. And make us proud out there. And it's coming tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Contreras.
Thank you, Mr. Contreras.
You know, Mr. Haynes.
Mr. Smith.
I'll let Ms. Haynes go ahead of me. She's been waiting, patient.
Thanks, Mr. Smith. Congratulations. Congratulations to the staff and the kids and the families. I'm so excited for you guys tomorrow. Good luck. And I just want to say congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Smith.
So, you know, what an exciting moment in time for the district, for Del Rio, for Val Verde County. I mean, wow, let's just stand back and take a breath. Congratulations to all of you. I've seen the kids and everybody working hard as I drive by the district over the high school ever so often when it's the right time of day. And all those fruits are coming to bear now. So great job, awesome. Great for Del Rio.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Gonzalez, you're muted.
Very proud of you, everybody. Your hard work has paid off. Good luck to you. Absolutely fantastic news. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. And Dr. Rios.
Thank you, Mr. Mesa. To the whole Ram Band family, students, parents, directors, tonight we honor you, but the reality is that you bring so much honor to our community. It's incredible. First time ever, and it's all because of your resolve and your dedication. Congratulations. It is incredible, and we will forever remember your accomplishments. Thank you so much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Rios.
Again, we will echo what Dr. Rios said. Good luck to everyone and have a safe trip, and we want you back safely, okay? Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And so there we have the band. So there we have the band down on the field as they wave, as we're about to start our performance. So again, thank you so much for all the support that we've received from our administration. And we appreciate every single thing that you do for these great kids in our school district. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have time to listen to the intro or something? If they're going to do something right now, is there time for that, board members? I'm sorry, since we're not able to be there.
I don't know if it's scheduled, Dr. Rios.
Yeah, I think Mr. Rios is about to begin, so you can leave the camera on for a couple of minutes. Mr. Rios, are you ready to proceed?
We just need to do a quick warm up since they've been standing on. It's a rather cold. They just need to do a quick warm up, and then we can leave the intro that you all can listen to. So we'll do a quick warm up.
Are you gonna go to face backfield with the long tones?
I don't know whether you keep up to that. Yeah. No, it's okay. We need to go through the motion section. So.
And let's. Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to present the 2020-2021 Mighty Ram Band. They went through the region round and the area round and qualified to the state finals. They will be performing at 142 in the Alamo Dome, the Mecca of marching band. We all know the great state of Texas is really strong in football, but a lot of people don't know that it's also the best state when it comes to marching band. And so for them, advancing to this point is just a great accomplishment. So they are wearing earplugs all right now in their ears because the Alamo Dome is a very unforgiving environment. They can only hear the people directly around them. And so they will be playing this whole show with hearing close to almost nothing around them. It's quite hard for them to do. They've been training like this all week to prepare for the challenges of the Alamo Dome. They are the 7th band out of 20 to perform. And they are one of 3 bands out of the full order that represents our great part of the state. And so they bring a Hispanic show to show off the heritage of our community as Hispanics that we are mostly made up of. And so without further ado, this is their state send-off performance from the Mighty Ram Band. And so, Ben, we ready to go, Ben? So, let's give them a great round of applause. Real High School Mighty Ram Band and their Seattle vocals. And set.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
And congratulations to everyone. Good luck tomorrow. Okay, we're going to continue with our agenda here. Next item that we have is item 4B. And we have the Purple Star Campus Designation Award awarded to Roberto Bobby Barrera Elementary STEM Magnet School. We have Sandra Hernandez and Maria Hudgens.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. It fills me with great pride and joy to announce and share with you that Roberto Bobby Barrera Elementary was awarded the Purple Star designation by the Texas Education Agency. If you go to the next slide, please. So this designation was awarded to us because of our support of the needs of our military families. What's really exciting about this is that this is the very first time in Texas that the Purple Star is awarded to schools by the TEA. And we are one of 116 campuses in the state of Texas that received this designation. We hope to continue the efforts and really what I look forward to is helping the other campuses here in the district so that they too may apply as they as well support our military families. And hopefully we will have designation across our campuses with our military families. So how we do this, how we support our military families, if you could go to the next slide, please. I invite all parents out there to please visit the Roberto Bobby Barrera website. It has accessible information to all military families, everything from things that are offered here with our district, as well as Anchored for Life, which is a program that we participate in. And in Anchored for Life, it's really student leaders supporting other students going through the process of deployment, going through the process of coming to our campus, moving into a new town, and many other things. We also support the military connected students and families. We work very, very closely with the parent liaison, the family liaison there on base. And also we participate through the whole month of the military child. Even through COVID, we're able to support families in many, many ways. And so again, like I said, we just hope to continue all those efforts, but also reach out to the other campuses as well.
I want to congratulate you on behalf of our board and tell you that it's my understanding that we're the only school in Region 15 that has received this prestige.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And that's awesome. And again, it took a lot of years for us to be able to arrive to this point, but I think it's a tremendous recognition. And I would like to also encourage other board members, if you have comments, if you could raise your hand so I can see you. And Mrs. Webb?
Yes, first of all, congratulations.
Congratulations
to you, to all the staff, to the students, to the parents. Most of all, Laughlin Air Force Base is a proud entity of our community. And we are so proud that Laughlin is part of our community. So to the base commander and all the military families that are out there, thank you. Thank you for your support of our community. And to our teachers, thank you for working so closely with the military families, because we know that in time of need, they need that support. They can't do it by themselves, and we can't do it by ourselves either. So thank you again so much to you, to the staff, to the parents, and Laughlin Air Force Base. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, this designation, it really does speak volumes of our teachers, of our staff. We just love our parents. We love our community. So no, thank you.
I can't see everyone, so Anyone else want to comment? Mr. Orfeld?
Yeah, just to echo what already been said, huge accomplishment. And I remember seeing when that Senate bill came out and immediately thinking, we've got, right off the bat, a great school that hopefully we qualify for that. And like you said also earlier, hopefully our other schools in the district will soon be recipients of that, because we are, much like San Antonio claims its claim to fame as a military city USA. We are definitely the U.S. Air Force city here because of Laughlin, and we thank Laughlin for its trust in the district and allowing us to build a school out there, and allowing us to educate their children. So congratulations to everyone at the campus, and to the wing commander and everyone else that made this happen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Orfeld. Thank you again for doing such great work, and please relay that to the staff and everyone assisting our young people at that magnet school. Congratulations again.
Thank you, sir, and I will let them know, and they're very deserving of it, and we couldn't be happier or prouder.
Thank you again. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Next item we have on our agenda is citizens to be heard. I have not received any item as in regard to citizens' comments, so I guess we have none. We're gonna continue now with our first public hearing, which is going to be the overview of School First, Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, and I'll turn it over to Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. This is the 18th year of Schools First for Texas school districts. This public hearing is to announce that the district received a rating of A Superior with a score of 100. This rating is the state's highest, demonstrating the quality of our district's financial management and reporting system. The state's School Financial Accountability Rating System, known as the School Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, or FIRST, ensures that Texas public schools are held accountable for the quality of their financial management practices and that they improve those practices. The system is designed to encourage Texas public schools to better manage their financial resources to provide the maximum allocation possible for district instructional purposes. The primary goal of School First is to achieve quality performance in the management of school districts' financial resources, a goal made more significant due to the complexity of accounting associated with Texas school finance. Every district is required to provide a management report to the public once a year, and the date of the meeting must be published once a week for 2 weeks. And we did publish that notice on December 3rd and the 13th in the Uvalde News Leader. So at this time, I will go through the 15 indicators. And just as a reminder, this report does cover the fiscal year of 2018-19. Can you go back one slide, Dr. Rios? There we go. The first indicator was the complete annual financial report and data submitted to the TEA within 30 days of the January 28 deadline, depending on the school district's fiscal year end date of August 31st. Yes, our annual financial report was approved by the Board of Trustees on January 20th, 2020. Number 2A, was there an unmodified opinion in the AFR on the financial statements as a whole? Yes, the annual financial report was submitted with an unmodified opinion. Indicator 2B, did the external independent auditor report that the AFR was free of any instances of material weaknesses in internal controls over financial reporting and compliance for local, state, or federal funds. Yes. Bell Terrace Pechasek, the district's external auditors, reported no material weaknesses in the 2018-2019 audit. Number 3, was the school district in compliance with the payment terms of all debt agreements at fiscal year end? Yes, the district paid all obligations in a timely manner. Next slide. Indicator number 4, did the school district make timely payments to the Teacher Retirement System, Texas Workforce Commission, Internal Revenue Service, and other government agencies? Yes, the payments to government agencies were all paid in a timely manner. Indicator 5, was the total unrestricted net position balance in the governmental activities column in the statement of net position greater than 0? This indicator is not being scored for this year, but our net position was greater than 0. Indicator 6, was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures? Our district has more than 90 days of cash on hand. Indicator 7, was the measure of current assets to current liabilities ratio for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt? Our August 31st Exhibit A1 statement of net position shows that our ratio of current assets to current liabilities was 3.815. Indicator number 8, was the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency? Our August 31st, 2019 audit Exhibit A1 statement of net position, our total assets exceeds our total liabilities. Indicator 9, did the school district's general fund revenue equal or exceed expenditures, excluding facilities acquisition and construction? If not, was the school district's number of days of cash on hand greater than or equal to 60 days? Our August 31st, 2019 audit Exhibit G1 statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance did show that our general fund revenues exceeded our expenditures, and we also had greater than 60 days cash on hand. Indicator 10, was the debt service coverage ratio sufficient to meet the required debt service? Again, the district was able to make all bond payments. Indicator 11, was the school district's administrative cost ratio equal to or less than the threshold ratio? Our district's administrative cost ratio for 2018-2019 was below the state limit of 0.1. Our ratio was actually 0.0890. Indicator 12, did the school district not have a 15% decline in the students to staff ratio over 3 years? The 2018-19 enrollment of 10,437 was a decrease of 99 students when compared to the 2016-2017 enrollment of 10,536. Indicator number 13, did the comparison of public education information management system data to like information in the school district's AFR result in a total variance of less than 3% of all expenditures by function? Yes, our data variance was 0.03% due to rounding. Indicator 14, did the external independent auditor report that the AFR was free of any instances of material weaknesses in internal controls over financial reporting and compliance for local, state, or federal funds? Belt Harris Pejasek, the district's auditors, reported no material weaknesses in the 2018-2019 audit. And indicator 15, did the school district not receive an adjusted repayment schedule for more than one fiscal year for an over-allocation of foundation school program funds as a result of a financial hardship? Our district calculates state funding and monitors ADA every 6 months. So that's the last indicator. So as you can see, so again, we did receive an A. We received 100 points. That's the highest score you could receive. And this report, along with some report disclosures that I laid copies on your desks, will be posted to our website on our financial transparency page.
Thank you very much, Ms. Childress. Dr. Rios, do we have public comments? Anyone that has indicated that they would like to make a public comment?
No, sir.
No? Then I just want to say congratulations to all staff. This is an undertaking that does not happen, in 1 week or 1 day. It's a total year commitment from all the employees in your department, and of course, you leading the department. So it's a wonderful thing to receive an A and 100. I know in the past we have not received 100. It's close to, but congratulations again. This is a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Being that there's no public comments, I will adjourn this public hearing, and we will go on to the next item on our agenda. Next item that we have is again item 6D. This is partnerships with public or private entities for a full day pre-kindergarten program for component eligibility of 4-year-olds. We have Dr. Alana Talamantes Elizondo. Again, this is a public hearing.
If I may, Ms. Ruby Adams, Director of Federal Programs, will be making the presentation for Dr. Talamantes.
Oh, thank you. Welcome, Ms. Ruby Adams. You're muted.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. I'm here this evening to present information regarding this public hearing and waiver requirements for Irene C. Cardwell. Next. As you know, House Bill 3 was passed by the 86th legislature and signed into law by Governor Abbott on June 11th, 2019. More specifically, HB 3 requires full-day, high-quality pre-kindergarten for all eligible 4-year-old children. The purpose of this public hearing this evening, December 14th at 6 p.m., is to solicit and obtain proposals for partnerships with early learning centers who meet the component requirements. In addition to this public hearing, we did have 2 public notices that were advertised in the Del Rio News Herald on Sunday, July 12th and Sunday, July 19th, 2020. No proposals were received from public or private entities. Irene C. Cardwell is requesting a second-year waiver for second and third year for full-day, high-quality pre-kindergarten for all eligible 4-year-old children. However, in order to receive this waiver, the school district must do 2 things. 1, hold a public hearing to solicit and obtain proposals for partnerships with early learning centers who meet component eligibility. And we must also meet one of the 2 exemption requirements that are coming up next. So in order for us to be able to apply for this waiver, we have to meet one of these exemption requirements. The first one is the school district would need to construct, repurpose, or lease a classroom facility or issue bonds for the construction or repurposing of a classroom facility in order to provide pre-K classes. Or number two, the implementation of full day would result in fewer eligible children being enrolled in pre-K. So San Felipe Del Rio is eligible with exemption number 2. The implementation of full day pre-K would result in fewer children being enrolled in pre-K due to facilities, transportation needs, and additional bus routes. So waivers must be submitted to TEA before the end of the school year in 2021, and this is due to COVID-19. Are there any questions?
Maybe I just want to thank you again for filling in for Dr. Talamantes. And I do have a question. So is HB 3 is a requirement that we do this, but are we anticipating that we will have a full day pre-K after the waiver?
Yes, sir. Tonight, later in the agenda, there is an action item. The waiver is a request for the second and third year, and we do anticipate that after that time, we will be full day.
Okay. Questions from other board members? Anyone? Public comments, Dr. Rios, have we received anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Then again, I want to say thank you again for helping us out tonight. And at this time, we'll adjourn the public hearing because we do not have any public comments. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll go item 7. We do not have any board members report. We go to item 8, reports 8A, presentation of HB 3, EC, early college and career and college military readiness goals. Ida Gomez.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the school board. On December 1st, the school board attended a training with the Region Center 15 to go over the House Bill 3 early childhood reading and math and CCMR goals. At that time, we were given the different templates, and we have been working with the principals and the district leadership team to come up with the goals that we will be presenting for approval in January. However, tonight we do have a synopsis of what will be required. We have the early childhood reading board outcome goals, along with the reading progress measures, the third grade math board outcome goals, along with the math progress measures. We do have our college, career, or military readiness CCMR criteria, along with the CCMR board goals and progress measures. Mr. Mesa, School Board, we will start with the Early Childhood Literacy Board Outcome Goal for reading. The state has required, House Bill 3 does require that this be a third grade reading goal based on STAR. At this time, we did not have an assessment in 2020 spring, so in 2019, that would be the latest data that we have. Our district was at a 32% for the meets category for third grade reading. That is our baseline. A 5-year goal would be to go the percent of third grade students that score meets grade level or above on STAR reading will increase from a 32% to a 62%. You'll see on the slide in front of you, this is the template that would be presented. From a 32, we would increase to a 43%, to a 50% in 2023, to a 56% in 2024, to a 62% in 2025. Those are aggressive moves, but we do have a strong plan of action. At the bottom in your packet, you will also see Closing the Gap, the student group's yearly targets. Anywhere that you see an asterisk, we do not have a population of 25 or higher in that category. Therefore, where you do see a percentage for 2021, you will also see that we're anticipating and formulating our goals to 2025 to meet the 62%. And that does follow with every subpopulation that is measured. Now for early literacy, during the training, we went through the discussion of how does third grade get to 62% in the meets category. And the conclusion was we do have to have the help and support of kinder, first, and second grade teachers. And our students must have house goals to reach. In front of you, you'll see that there's a kindergarten goal at the top, a first grade and a second grade goal. You also see that all of it revolves around having more students meet the Tier 1 instruction. Those would be students who do not need interventions, who are reading on grade level and performing on grade level, on either the TPRI. In kinder, the TPRI has been replaced by something named a TEX-KIA diagnostic tool, and first and second grade would continue with their TPRI. You'll see the kinder goal right now is at a 44%. That means that 56% of our students require interventions at the end of kindergarten. Only 44% are at Tier 1. We're anticipating that in 5 years, we will meet a goal of 80%. In first grade, 40% of our students are at Tier 1, and 60% of our students are in Tier 2 and 3. We're anticipating a goal of 75%. And in second grade, we have 45% of our students who are leaving second grade as Tier 1 students, meaning that 55% of our students still require interventions to be on grade level as they enter third grade. We're anticipating a goal of 80%. We follow with the math board outcomes goal. The baseline from our STAR in 2019 was a 32%. The 5-year projection is a 61%. The percent of third grade students that score meets grade level or above on the STAR math will increase from 32% to 61% by June 2025. You'll see there that a 32, since we won't be assessing this year, we would keep that the same. In 2020, it would be a 40%, followed by a 48%, a 56%, and a 61% as our target goal. At the bottom, you do see all the different student groups that we would have to meet those types of numbers for us to reach the 61%, being that we are 93% Hispanic in our district. So our Hispanic population needs to reach the highest numbers that we can. Unfortunately, unlike reading, where the Texas Education Agency provides approved diagnostic exams and requires that data is uploaded onto the state monitoring system, we do not have that for math. Therefore, the last few weeks, several weeks actually, there has been much discussion as to what assessment we would be using for math. What criteria would be used to ensure that our students are on grade level? So 2 conversations are taking place at this time. One is there an assessment out there that we could purchase that the district could research or has researched and is comfortable with allowing that assessment to be our baseline and how we monitor the progress for math? Or do we need to come up with something local? In the next week or 2, as we research, we will be providing more information on board during your board communiques on what assessments we're looking at. We have set some target goals though. You'll see that for kinder, we would need 75% of our students to be on grade level. For first grade, we would need 80%. And for second grade, we would need 85% of our students to be on grade level in order for them to be successful and for us to hit the target that we would for math, or that we've projected for math. The next section, Mr. Mesa, if you remember, it was early childhood reading and math and CCMR. Are our students ready for college, career, or military? The criteria that's measured are these 9 components, and number 4 has been eliminated for now. Because we really do not have a way of assessing that, students who are enlisting in the U.S. Armed Forces are not being counted on CCMR. So we track our students. Currently, we're tracking 753 students to ensure that when they graduate, they have met one of these. They've either scored a 3 on an advanced placement AP exam or a 4 on an IB examination. They've earned an associate's degree. They've earned an industry-based certification. They've passed an on-ramps course, dual credit. They've earned a level 1 or level 2 certificate. They have passed both their reading and their math TSI. They only get credit if they have passed both. The dual credit course requirements, they can have 3 hours in an English language arts and reading or math, or a combination of 9 or more hours across other content. For instance, a BIM dual credit course. We also have completed an IEP or workforce readiness, meaning that if a special ed student graduates with a code of 4, 5, 54, 55, they would meet the criteria. And then there's also some special ed graduates with the recommended high school program, the distinguished achievement programs that are noticed at the bottom. That's the only way the student earns it. So our goal at this time, we have 70% of our students. Our baseline last year, this one is current because even though we don't assess for STAR or EOC, we do graduate students every year. Last year, 74% of our students actually met the CCMR goal. With the conversations that we've been having and the monitoring pieces that we know are in place, working with counselors, working with the high school, it's putting a lot of attention into this component, Mr. Mesa. We're very confident that we will reach a 92% in 5 years. The tracking at the bottom, you'll see that currently we're at a 74, we predict a 77. Then we project an 81, an 85, an 88, and a 92% in 5 years. That is across all the subpops at the bottom. We would have to work with our Hispanic population to get to a 90% because again, they do represent about 93% of our enrollment. The white population represents about 5% and all others represent about 2%. Now, having said that, there are 3 progress measure goals. The first one that we would like to focus on is the ACT and the SAT. We would like the percent of students that participate in this assessment to increase from a 43% to a 70%. So right now, 4 out of 10 students are taking this exam. We would like to increase that in 5 years to 7 out of 10 to be ready to take the exam. You'll see that this year we're looking at 50%, followed by a 56, a 60, a 65, and a 70. At the bottom, you will see how the different student groups would have to be monitored to close the gap. The second measure is based on our economically disadvantaged. The percent of economically disadvantaged students that meet the CCMR outcome bonus criteria would increase from a 22% now to a 60%. We project that this year, 25% of our economically disadvantaged students are followed by 32%, 40%, 50%, and concluding with 60%. This particular measure would only focus on economically disadvantaged students. We wouldn't worry about any other subpop. We would identify that cohort and we would ensure, for instance, this year, to reach the goal of 25%. We would need 16 more students than last year to actually meet the criteria. Any one of those 10 that we showed earlier, well, 9 of you exclude the military. Followed by the next year, it went up. We would need 44 students more. So as the percentages increase, the number of students would increase, but it's very doable because we're only looking at one subpop. And our economically disadvantaged students do make up a large 72% of the population. Mr. Mesa, the outcome bonus for every student above the threshold that does pass or earn this criteria is $5,000 per student. So we are very aggressively looking at that as a measure. The last one would be to increase our TSI in both reading and math. Our students who not only take it, but pass reading and math from a 30%, which we currently have, to a 60%. Our projected goal for TSI this year, which we've started in late summer, is a 33%, followed by 39%, 47%, 53%, and concluding with a 60%. Again, at the bottom, you will see our target goals for closing the gap per year. But all three of these measures would take a lot of collaboration with not only the high school counselors, but also with departments, with assessment accountability, with our diagnosticians, with just everybody focused on these three measures to meet the one goal. On January the 19th, during the board meeting, the complete packet of House Bill 3 Early Childhood and CCMR Goals and Progress Monitoring Plans will be presented for approval. Once presented, they do have to be submitted to TEA by the end of the month. If you recall, there's also a board monitoring calendar where we would like to suggest the upcoming reports. What would the board like to see in February and March and April? And of course, this would be with any communication coming back from the school board members or any specifics on any of our board goals or progress monitoring forms. I did attach a sample report to on this page also that would just kind of show you the detail of the reports that the school board can expect during any presentation. Sir, are there any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. And I just want to make a correction on my behalf. I said EC, but every time I see EC and CCMR, I tie that to early college, which is early child, HB3.
Yes,
but
sir.
I'll open it up for questions. Again, Mrs. Webb. You're muted. Mrs. Webb, you're muted.
At our training, reference was made to kinder first and second. However, my thought is we have Head Start and pre-kinder. So one of my questions is, are our students in Head Start and pre-kinder right now kinder ready when they go to kinder? And if they are ready upon entering kinder, then those students should be at grade level, because based on their data-driven instruction and the class instrument for Head Start and TEA requirements for pre-kinder, they should be kinder ready. So I guess one of our questions, or my questions to Dr. Rios is, can we have a report as to how many of our students in that facility are kinder ready upon entering kinder? And then how many students do we have coming into kinder that are not at Head Start or pre-kinder? And are those students ready to be in kinder? Or how many of those students are already behind when they come into kinder? Because if we want to get our students ready when we get to third grade, we have to start at the beginning. We can't wait to kinder. We have to start prior because we do have a Head Start program and a pre-kinder program. And of course, all the instruction is data-driven instruction. So is there any way that we can get some of that data as to find out how many of our students are ready?
I don't know if Dr. Rose is going to answer.
Push data because they have to report that. So getting the data of the students coming out of pre-K will be simple enough.
Yes.
The bigger problem is the kids that are not enrolled in pre-K and therefore don't start ready. There's also other data that tracks how students who went to pre-K perform moving forward. So we can put all of that data together, ma'am, and present it.
Dr. Ruiz, I just want to add something to that is, again, with this pandemic, a lot of parents did not bring the students for pre-K or kinder. We do have low enrollment in those two areas.
Yes, Mr. Mesa, in the board report that I shared last night, and I know it was late last night, I indicated that there was at least 120 less students in pre-K as compared to the previous year. And I shared that we were going to begin an aggressive recruitment here in January, so that, and primarily with those that would have been our pre-K 3 students, to make sure that they're here next year for pre-K 4.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Mr. Miss, I don't know if you can see me or not, but
yes, sir.
Yeah, when you get into the college and career readiness, it seems like we're at a deficit right now, and I know, we've got a program to where we're trying to bring any kids that are behind back to in class after the first of the year, and then we've got a plan to pull in some summer school. And I know this, you're taking the line in the sand in August, but the way I read this is we're anticipating an increase in performance this year. Is that logical in this year? Or some just maybe I misunderstood some of the information in the document.
If I may, Mr. Mesa, the scores obviously for the state assessment will stay the same, but you're specifically talking about goal 3, where we expect to increase just a few points on kids that obtain one of those 10 items for CCMR.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, it is going to be difficult. That's why in this first year, that was the slowest gain. But we believe that we have time between now and the end of the school year to look at students that could possibly hit one of those areas. But it is going to be very difficult, sir, primarily because them being not in school, one, it will affect their certifications that they could otherwise obtain. And the number of kids that test for SAT and ACT will already be lower. And really, we're talking the kids in TSI, that right now we're totally dependent on being able to provide interventions. And there again, if they're not coming to school, it's hard to provide interventions. It's hard enough to get them to do the assignments. So it is an uphill battle for this year. You're 100% correct.
Well, I applaud you for putting a goal that high. Just, at the end of the day, a goal is met to put strive in it. And I know we've got a lot of makeup to do there. So anyway, I applaud you for it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I do want to add that HB 3 requirements have those standards. They're pretty high, pretty aggressive, and this was well before the pandemic. So it's unfortunate that we have so many students out, but it is required of us to close the gap and have those improvements within the time span specified. Anyone else? again, we are tasked with some homework, some duty to come back with any information for Ms. Gomez to help put this plan together so we can approve it in January. Thank you again, Ms. Gomez.
Thank you, Mr. Mesa, School Board, Dr. Rios.
Thank you. Next item that we have is under reports 8B, life skills update. Ms. Henge.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. Tonight's presentation will be discussing the Del Rio Freshman Life Skills Renovation Project. Topics of discussion tonight are value engineering. We'll take a look at Sandoval construction for the exterior portion, Frontera construction for the interior portion, project overview, budget, and projected timelines. For Sandoval construction, we looked at several areas. The way we have these these tables laid out here is description of work, which was pulled off their schedule, the values. That's the first column. The second column to the right of that is the scheduled value that they originally presented that we brought to the Board of Trustees last month. The value engineering amount, and then the revised scheduled values based on administration's negotiations. For the areas that we looked at on the exterior package pertain to the HVAC condenser unit. We went back and met with the architect and agreed that with the energy savings that we were going to be putting into this project here, that the current 7.5 ton heating and air conditioning unit would suffice for the 3,400 square feet of the building. The original construction documents called for a 10-ton unit. So we did go back and negotiate bringing that down to 7.5 tons. In doing so, we were able to remove the HVAC condenser unit that was proposed in the exterior package for a savings of $7,600. And then there were some negotiations that took place for more favorable rates when it dealt with the concrete works. More specifically, the pier footings that are going to be installed to support the bus canopy, slab restoration for the piping that's going to be installed, and column footing to be able to support the clear story or the cupola on top of the building. Those savings right there are identified in the value engineering amount column, giving us a total value engineering of $83,600 for the exterior portion of the project, bringing the new bid total to $406,000. On the Frontera portion, or the interior portion of the project, again, we set it up the same way: description of work, scheduled values, the value engineering amount, and the revised. The original bid that we received was $865,335. The areas that we looked at, there was a second portion of the HVAC system that was built into the interior package. So again, we were able to reduce that going from 10 tons to 7.5 tons. The plumbing, we went back and looked at the drawings on it, and originally it called for a cast iron drain. And after working with the architect, we felt confident that we could reduce the cost by substituting that with PVC piping, which saved us $7,000. The HVAC saved us $38,000. The plumbing saved us $7,000. And there were some changes that we made in the millwork. We identified that there were custom shelves that were built in storage rooms and felt that we could substitute that with mobile shelves / furniture that the district had provided a more competitive rate. The hollow metal doors, we were able to bring that amount down by $8,000. Again, just negotiating more favorable rates for the district. We went back through each one of these items and looked for areas where we could find savings. The door hardware was another $3,000 savings. The ceramic tile was a $6,000 savings. All the plans are still the same as before. Again, the rates were just negotiated down. Electrical, there were some savings with that item at $29,000 because of a portion of the savings on the electrical came from redesigning the HVAC system. That's important to note there. Supervision, we were able to get a reduction in that of $11,200. General conditions came down by $9,000. Mobilization, $3,230. Visual display units, $6,500. The district will be providing those. We do have those out on bid at a lower cost, as well as the wall padding. We recommending to take that piece out, bringing the new bid total to $723,955. With that being said, the project budget right now that we're looking at for the life skills is going to be $1,214,839. Pending architect fees that are due is $50,910.60. MEP services, we still have a remaining balance of $15,056.52. The general contractor interior, $723,955. The exterior portion, $406,000. Possible asbestos removal. We'll be doing the testing first, but we do have $3,000 set aside for that if there is any potential abatement that needs to be done. Furniture budget right now, we're allocating $2,500 for furniture. Because we did pull the marker boards and the wall padding out of Frontera's bid, we would have to put those back in, but it is at a savings. The marker boards at $3,000, wall padding at $10,000, leaving a remaining balance of $416.88. It's a very tight budget at this point, but we feel confident that we'll be able to make this happen. In total, we've negotiated out $224,980 from the original bids that we received. The project history and schedule, we're starting to put together timelines, much like what administration has presented in the past. Value engineering, that will be going for board approval tonight in the consent agenda. Right now, we're scheduled to relocate the staff and students from Del Rio freshman life skills over to the 1000 wing at Del Rio High School, and we would want to do that over Christmas break, so it lessens the impact of disrupting class. Asbestos testing right now, it's tentative around the end of this month, but we want to move on that as quickly as possible. Legal has reviewed the AIA documents for this project, so we're working through those details right now as well. And we're going to see how close we can get these projects working in parallel together. The exterior package does have the demo of the entire building, except for the main structure itself. So there will be some overlap in timelines with the two general contractors to get the job done. So some of those dates may change, but we are anticipating right now having it at substantial completion before school starts in August. Questions?
Mr. Smith?
So, just describe to me the $2,500 worth of furniture that you're buying.
Sir, yes.
We're aware that that not much for furniture. We will be looking at the local budget the reality is that the amendment that we asked Amy to come forward with the money, the money that we said, left a little bit of money extra. We've always known that we're going to have to look in the local budget and savings this year to be able to provide furniture. And we feel confident that we'll be able to buy furniture with current budget. We just had an extra $2,500 from the amendment that we asked her, and rather than go back and do all the other calculations, we said, well, furniture is the thing we have left. Let's put it on there. But we are very cognizant of the fact that we'll have to look at savings from this year, and we do have enough savings where we think we can allocate maybe $120,000 for some of the special education furniture that will go in there. Primarily, changing tables are very expensive, and other furniture, but we'll get it done.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Orfeld?
On the HVAC reduction in tonnage, the architect and you and construction manager are confident that 7.5 tons is going to be able to cool that size square footage appropriately during our very hot months of the year.
Yes, sir. We feel confident with it. We did go back and discuss it with the architect. The current tonnage that's in that building is 7.5 tons. And we don't have nearly the insulation or the grade of windows in there today that we will after this project. So it will be a lot more energy efficient, pretty much in alignment with the ESCO project that we had completed across the district. So there'll be high energy standards.
Do you know the R rating on the insulation we're going to put in?
I was trying to get that before the meeting, and my construction manager is still reviewing that. But again, we did go through the architect, and we wanted his blessing on it. Ultimately, he has to sign off on the drawings and the overall project. But he did feel confident that there would be savings there, and it would not take away from the project at all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Orfeld. I had a question in regard to also the tonnage being reduced. Do we have any summer programs going on, Dr. Rios?
So we're going to have a whole lot of summer programs that are going to go on the summer, hopefully to make up for a lot of the lost learning. Special education, particularly life skills, always has summer programs. So the answer is yes. Now in this building, not this year, but we will house those programs in other buildings.
Because that was my question in regard to the tonnage being reduced for the HVAC. And then the other question that I had was in regard to abatement of asbestos. I mean, I don't think $3,000 would remove one wall because it's very expensive. So so I know there's some testing that will be done.
Yes, yeah. Mr. Mesa, the 3,000 will be enough for the testing, and whatever has to be removed, we usually make those allocations either from the operations budget or we look at other favorability. But this is really only intended to cover the testing.
Okay, because it's pretty expensive, once you start digging into tile and insulation and those kind of things. And the reason I asked about summer school is because summers are so hot here in Del Rio that if you have reduction in the tonnage of HVAC equipment, I just hope that those kids will be comfortable with those programs going on in the summer.
Yes, sir. The tonnage per square foot is in line with the other buildings that we have. We just needed to get the architect to review it, and he did. So that will never be a problem. So we're okay with that one, just as we are in the other buildings. And those people that have experienced the high school since we replaced the AC, and there's no problem there. It'll be the same in this new building.
Okay. Anyone else? No other questions? Thank you, Mr. Enge.
Okay, thank you.
Go on to our next report. It's going to be on attendance and discipline report, term 2. Do we have Michelle Smith with us?
Mr. Mesa, Ms. Smith is not with us. I have the report. The attendance continues to be the same. We continue to work with the teachers. If discipline has not been a big issue because we don't have that many kids, but it's the wishes of the board, sir. If you'd like for us to review the report, I can put it up, or if y'all have specific questions.
Does anyone need more information? I think we had the report in there. I mean, I just really would like to congratulate, and Lamar always stands out in regard to attendance, and they do such a great job. They've maintained excellent attendance percentage, and amazingly enough, Irene Carving is way up there as well. So I just want to congratulate those 2 schools, and there's some other favorable ones in regard to, of course, Early College High School is great. And also, I think it's Del Rio Middle School, 8th grade. There's a lot of areas of improvement. There's some that are low. I don't want to mention those schools. I know which ones are low, but it seems like Lamar always does a fantastic job. So I want to thank administration and staff from Lamar doing an excellent job, and Cargill as well. Anyone else? Ms. Webb?
And the other school is Bobby Barrera. You mentioned Lamar, you mentioned Irene Cargill, and Bobby Barrera is above and where they were before. So that they need to be recognized as well.
Thank you for pointing that out. I don't want to leave. Anyone else? And I guess we're fine with the attendance and discipline report. Before we, yes, Dr. Rios, you want to explain? We're going to move an item up before we do the consent agenda, and you want to give us some explanation, Dr. Rios?
Yes, sir, if I may. On the consent agenda is the approval for the contracts for Sandoval Construction and Frontera Construction. But before we approve those contracts, we have to make sure we have money in the budget. And we'll only have sufficient money in the budget once Ms. Childress presents the amendment, which is item 13C. So if it pleases the board, we would request that you move item 13C up before the consent agenda, and then we'll move forward with the consent agenda.
Okay, we'll move up item 13C.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. In order to complete the Del Rio Freshman Life Skills Unit project, the budget is projected at $1,190,000. This request is to modify the general fund commitments for the Del Rio Freshman Life Skills Unit with an increase of $214,839 by reducing the general fund commitment project for the HVAC train contract in the amount of $207,357 and the Buena Vista driveway expansion in the amount of $7,482. Now, again, we are not asking to draw from the general fund balance. These are projects that we had committed funds set aside for, and we no longer need these funds. These projects have been completed. So we would just like to reallocate those committed funds to the life skills unit.
Okay. Good, and this is item 13C. Consideration to approve modification of the 2021 general fund balance commitments for the Del Rio Freshman Life Skills Unit in the amount of $214,839.
Yes, sir.
I will entertain a motion made by Mr. Smith. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Mrs. Webb. So we'll start and take a vote on this. Mrs. Webb? In favor? Mr. Smith? In favor? Mr. Orfeld? In favor? Jana Gonzalez? In favor? Amy Haynes, I can't see Amy. Is that a favor?
Yes.
In favor? And Mr. Fred Contreras?
In favor, Mr. Mesa. I'll be holding my hand up and you can't see me. I'm just
Thank
here
you.
waiting.
Yes, I can. Thank you, Amy. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Amy. Now we'll go on to consent agenda. Again, there's some minutes from the November 16th. And again, there's some donations that will be posted in our website. And if you would like to pull any item, or if you have questions regarding any item in the consent agenda, could you do that at this time? I see no hands raised. Again, we're grateful for individuals and businesses contributing, making donations to our programs and our different schools. We appreciate all the help you give us throughout the community. And again, they will be posted on our website. We thank all those individuals for making contributions for the betterment of our district and our district programs. I see no questions, Dr. Rios, unless you see any. I can't see.
We're ready to move forward, sir. No questions.
Being that there are no questions, I will then entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Okay, motion made by Mrs. Webb. Is there a second motion? Ms. Gonzalez? Seconded the motion. And I will ask for a vote, starting with Mrs. Webb. All those in favor? Mrs. Webb in favor? Amy Haynes?
In favor.
Thank you. Mr. Contreras? In favor? And Mr. Smith? In favor? Mr. Orfeld? In favor? And myself, in favor. Jana Gonzalez, in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Again, motion passes. Consent agenda is passed. We'll go into administration. Item 10A, consideration for the board president to appoint the 2021-2022 board policy review committee. And I really would like to ask members of those committees if you could please serve again. First of all, with the board, if you look under administration, you'll see all the committee members there. Board Policy Review Committee, we have myself, Josh Overfeld, Diana Gonzalez. Would you make a commitment to serve again? Mr. Overfeld?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Gonzalez? Thank you. And I'll serve again. So, Sandra, if you're taking note, we would like to again have the same people on the Board Policy Review Committee, myself, Josh Overfeld, and Diana Gonzalez. If I could ask the same of the Board Finance Committee, Mr. Ken Smith, Linda serves, Mr. Ken Smith serves on it, Linda Webb, Fred Contreras. Mr. Smith, would you be okay with that?
On. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And Mrs. Webb?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Contreras?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Operations Committee. We have Mr. Smith, Mr. Overfeld, and Amy Haynes. Amy, would you be okay?
Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Smith, operations.
Yes, sir, I'd stay on.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Orfeld,
Yes, sir.
operations. Thank you so much. Again, we have our policy review committee stays the same. Our board finance committee stays the same, and operations committee stays the same. I really appreciate those individuals, again, for serving in those committees.
Yes, if I may, sir, these are action items. I think a vote of your recommendation is in order.
Then I'm going to take one at a time. First of all, item 10A, consideration for the board president to appoint the 2021-2022 board policy review committee. Again, as I mentioned, the board members in that committee are going to be myself, Mr. Orfeld, and Ms. Diana Gonzalez. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Orfeld, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Diana Gonzalez? In favor? Mrs. Webb? In favor? Amy Haynes? In favor? Mr. Smith? In favor? Mr. Orfeld? In favor? And Mr. Contreras? In favor? And myself. Motion carries unanimously. We have the Board Policy Review Committee. Next item we have is 10B, consideration for the board president to appoint the 2021-2022 Board Finance Committee. Again, those members that are serving on those committee include the board, this is the board finance, Mr. Smith, Linda Webb, Fred Contreras. Is there a motion to approve the appointment of those individuals back to the same committee? Motion made by Diana Gonzalez, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor, Mrs. Gonzalez, in favor, Mrs. Webb, in favor, Amy Haynes, in favor, Mr. Smith, in favor, and Mr. Orfeld, in favor, Mr. Contreras, and myself in favor. Yeah. Motion carries unanimously. We have the Board Finance Committee. Next committee we have is the Operations Committee. Consideration for the board president to appoint the individuals that have served on the Operations Committee, which is Mr. Smith, Mr. Orfeld, and Amy Haynes. This is the Operations Committee. Again, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mrs. Webb, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor, Ms. Gonzalez? In favor, Mrs. Webb? In favor, Amy Haynes? In favor, Mr. Smith? In favor, Mr. Orfeld? In favor, and Mr. Contreras? In favor, and myself. Motion carries unanimously. We have now all the members for the Board Policy Review Committee, Board Finance Committee, and Operations Committee. We go on to item 10D, consideration to approve an amendment to the 2020-2021 Student Parent Handbook. Sandra Hernandez.
Before Sandra makes a small presentation, I would like to describe the need for it. Superintendents and board members across the state have addressed the difficulty in being able to have students perform at a certain level because of either connectivity issues or parent support issues at home. And they've taken different actions, whether it be, for example, some districts in San Antonio reduced the percentage of weight that semester exams have. Others have strongly looked at their policies for how much homework is given, and still others have looked at the penalties for homework. In looking at our problems right now and trying to improve how kids make up their work, we looked and saw a whole lot of inconsistencies in penalties for late work. Some teachers charge as much as 25 percentage points when the work is just one day late. Others charge 5 points, and still others don't charge any penalties. So we thought that we would bring consistency across the board for this pandemic period, and propose an amendment to the student handbook that would take effect really beginning the second semester, Mr. Mesa, because we've already started this 6 weeks. Of course, teachers are free to be as encouraging with the students as they can, but to set a policy across the district, we looked at the handbook, and I'm going to call it up, and Ms. Hernandez will make a presentation on that. So Ms. Hernandez, let me call this up for you just a second, and then we can begin, okay?
Andrew, you're muted.
There you go, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, and good evening, Dr. Rios, Mr. Mesa, and members of the board. As Dr. Rio mentioned, the administration is making a recommendation to align the language and to clarify the areas in which the student will be permitted to make up assignments. And we worked on this particular area, and you'll see that this section, this is in your board packet. It will be under section A and under assignments and makeup work. The language in this particular area of the handbook was reviewed and revised in order to better clarify the makeup work and the assignments, projects, and when tests are due when a student is absent. And because of an absence, the teacher may assign a late penalty to a project in accordance with the timelines and expectations listed below. So what we have done is we have clarified this so that it's just clear and consistent, and this was in alignment to the EIE policy as well. In item number 1, you'll see that makeup assignments and assignments that are submitted within 5 days of an assigned due date to an excused absence. And what an excused absence means is that it's a documented medical appointment or it's a school sanctioned trip. So the student will not be imposed a late penalty and shall be awarded 100% of the earned grade. Again, these are for students that are turning in assignments that are submitted within 5 days of the assigned due date. Makeup assignments on bullet number 2 are submitted 6 days past the assigned due date to an excused absence shall be considered late, and it's subject to a late penalty as follows. So if they're late 6 days, if this assignment is late 6 days, they will receive a 5-point penalty. Beyond 6 days, there are a 5-point penalty for each day the assignment is late thereafter. And in bullet number 3, the makeup assignments that are submitted past the assigned due date due to an unexcused absence shall be considered late, and it is also subject to a late penalty as follows. Bullet number 1, 1 to 5 days late, a 5-point penalty for each day that the assignment is late. And beyond 6 days, the teacher holds the discretion to accept the work and assign a grade. As you see that the language here before was not as clear. This time we're clearing the language up so there's much more clarity, and it identifies the circumstances when a student is the circumstances, an excused absence or an unexcused absence, and then the number of days. Are there any questions from the board?
Yes, Mr. Smith.
So, you know, I totally get the excused absence and a student having time to do that one. The unexcused, that one seems awful lenient in my view. It seemed like you had 6 days at a 5-point disadvantage, and then you start deteriorating. And to me, it should be that deterioration. I'm okay with the 5-point disadvantage in a shorter time period, like the first day, and then the second day maybe, and then the third day that starts deteriorating value even more as you go through time. But 0 to 6 days with then you got a week plus to do that makeup when you got an unexcused absence to start with. Anyway, I think that just my comments.
Just to clarify, if I may, Mr. Mesa, Mr. Smith, the 6-day delay is only when it's an excused absence. So if I'm off on a band trip, for example, tomorrow I'm going to state competition, I'm missing all my classes. So we have 5 days because it's an excused absence. On the 6th day, I start getting a penalty. But then on the other hand, Sandra didn't go to a band competition. She's just late. She starts accumulating the 5-point penalty on the very first day it's late.
Yeah, I get that. The only problem is that she has the same penalty for 6 days, and then it starts deteriorating. The way I interpreted the note. So for an unexcused person, they get immediate 5-point penalty if they turn their work in 1 day late. But if they turn their work in 6 days late, they still only get a 5-point penalty. And so that link. Huh?
5 points per day.
5 point per day after the first 6 days is the way I read that. Did I read it wrong? Can you pull it back up?
Yes, sir. I'll pull it back
Yes.
up. I don't think you read it wrong, sir. I think Sandra explained it wrong. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Let me. There it is. There you go.
Right.
Okay, so
the third bullet.
I'm sorry.
So 1 to 5 days late, there's a 5-point penalty for each day the assignment is late.
Okay, I got it. Thank you for the clarity. Some of this verbiage is covered up with Sandra's video coverage, so thank you for the clarity. I'm good.
Okay. Now there is a section right thereafter where we are encouraging our students and our parents to please discuss a plan for submitting work, makeup work, in the event that they know that there's an absence ahead of time. So we want them to plan. And so that plan, of course, if there's a doctor's appointment or they know that there's a trip, for example, that state competition, that they make arrangements with their teachers so that they have a plan of action so that they can have those assignments turned in on time.
I believe Mr. Ofelt had a question.
Thank you, sir. At the top it says teachers may assign the late penalty to any project that is late, or any project / assignment, I guess, is really what it should be, in accordance with the timelines and expectations listed below. And then in the bullet down, it says there shall not be imposed. Dr. Rios or Sandra, if you could explain the difference between may and shall there, because I know there's a difference when we get into legal terms as to may impose something and shall impose something.
Yes, sir. The intent is, at the end of the day, teachers have discretion on the grade assigned to the student. So we can impose rules that they have to abide by. So by saying that a teacher may, if you're a 7th grade Texas history teacher and you want to impose a penalty, then you can. But if your counterpart across the hallway, as long as you impose a penalty in accordance with these guidelines, but your counterpart across the hallway also teaching Texas history doesn't want to impose a penalty, well, they don't have to. That's that's between the principal and those two teachers and how they discuss that. So that's the difference between me. A teacher can impose a penalty, and if they do, they have to follow these guidelines as they're written. But if the teacher does not want to impose a penalty, then that's between the teacher and the principal.
Okay, and then when we talk about due date, regardless of, we'll just take an excused absence. If the let's say the student was sick because of, let's say they contracted COVID and they were one of the ones that it really knocked them down and they could not do the work and they're out for 10 days. Based on this here, it says 6 days, 6 days after the due date. But technically, because it would be an excused absence, because you would have a medical release back to being able to work, whether it was online or in the school, it's 6 days from the return to school, correct? Because I mean, that could totally get, teachers would have to understand that it's from the time that you're actually returned or released from the doctor, because I know personally watching A Day and B Day with my daughter, sometimes teachers get their A Day and B Day classes mixed up on Canvas, and there is a something that's due, and I was like, well, no, we haven't covered that yet. Well, I mean, it's due tonight, and we run into those issues. So I guess due date versus return to school, that clarification would be made.
We can make that clarification. We can just add a parentheses day there after due date and say / return date.
Okay.
Sandra, I had a question for you. Parents usually sign the student handbook at the start of the year. They send the signature back to the teacher. Teacher keeps it on file. How are we going to do this to make sure that the parents are aware of this change?
So there is a recommendation for an amendment. So once this recommendation has been reviewed, we will forward this to the campuses who can then disseminate an amendment. This amendment to their parents via the Skyward like they did before. We will attach a little memo to it that will let them know that this particular portion of the policy has been amended. And then we will also update it as well. And we can probably provide a press release that will show on our website that will show this is new in this particular area.
Okay. Anyone else? I see no other hands raised, so then I will entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Ms. Gonzalez. Is there a second to the motion?
Did we need a recommendation first, or has that already been given?
Yes.
Do you want to read it, Sandra? Because I know that, we have.
Yes, sir, I will. It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the amendment to the 2020-2021 Student Parent Handbook as presented.
Okay. Motion, Ms. Gonzalez. Second, Mrs. Webb. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Ms. Gonzalez. Motion carries. Linda Webb. Motion for approval. Amy Haynes. Motion for approval. Mr. Smith. Yes. Mr. Orfeld. Yes. And Mr. Contreras. Yes. Myself, yes. Motion is approved unanimously. Go on to item 10E, consideration to approve the first reading of TASB Policy Update 115, affecting policy DED local, compensation and benefits, vacation holidays, and localized policy update affecting policy DCE local, employment practices, other types of contract. Sandra Hernandez.
Thank you once again, Mr. Mesa. There are two policies that I'm bringing forth this evening. The first policy, DED local, is the last of the update for TASB Policy Update 115. This covers compensation and benefits, vacations, and holidays. The change to this particular policy is the requirement for us, or the recommendation for us, to move the language from the local policy to the regulation. And so the regulation policy will articulate the steps and all of the information that was previously located under DE local, and it's just a move from one policy to the other. And the DED local is the broader scope of the policy, which just requires us to include the areas of eligibility criteria, accrual rates and availability, request and approval processes, accumulation and carryover limits, and the treatment of how vacation days are to be addressed upon separation, the employee separation. So you'll see that it's a very broad explanation under the local policy. The details will be moved over into the regulation of DED local. The minimal revisions to the DCE local policy, includes updates to the list of positions that require non-Chapter 21 contracts. And this is a policy that is regularly updated when there are changes to the positions and updates. And so it's come forward with some amendments, and that's it. This is all that I have for the policy for the first reading.
Sandra, would it be possible for you to show this policy? And again, my question has to do with accrual of vacation days, the carryover.
We can probably pop that open.
If you will send it to me, I'll put it up there. I don't have it on my file. But
Yes, give me 1 second. I'll have to do that manually. 1 second.
Mr. Mesa, is it okay with you if we proceed to table item 10E for a short period and go on to 11A? And then I'll make sure that it's set up to bring it back up. That way we can take our time to do it right.
Dr. Rios.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Rios and Mr. Mesa, I'm gonna have to log off for my work Zoom.
All right, sir.
All right.
Dr. Rios, tell me again, you want to go to item 10E?
Yes, sir. If you'll table item 10E, and then Sandra and I will get together and make sure that I can present that item you want to see. And we'll come back to it right after we do item 11A. That way it'll give us time to set up appropriately and answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Welcome back to then item 10E. Going on to item 11A. Consideration to approve the new Texas government dual credit course offered at Del Rio High School for the 2021-2022 school year. Ida Gomez.
Good evening again. President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. The Del Rio High School administration is requesting to expand the dual credit opportunities for students enrolled in arts and humanities and multidisciplinary endorsement. The requested course is Texas Government Dual Credit. The endorsement is Arts and Humanities Multidisciplinary Studies. This would begin in August of 2021 school year for 11th and 12th graders. Students enrolled in the Texas Government Dual Credit would be earning 3 hours of college credit through Angelo State University. The course GPS weight would be 6 points, similar to other dual credit courses. We already offer this course at Early College High School for Early College High School students. This would now be offered at Del Rio High School for Del Rio High School students. We do have a teacher already qualified through San Angelo State, or Angelo State, excuse me, so that would not hold us back. It would be a fall and spring term course, Texas Government Dual Credit. The course equivalent is under 2306 Texas Government for college course equivalent. Are there any questions?
Question from board members, Mr. Orfeld?
Given our extensive partnership with Southwest Texas Junior College, what's the difference between SWTJC and Angelo State as to why we're going with Angelo State for it?
So when our own staff teach the course, there really isn't any difference because it's our own staff teaching the course, except that when we go through Angelo State provides a substantial stipend to our teachers. So it allows us to compensate our teachers a little bit more.
Okay, good deal.
Anyone else? Recommendation, please.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the new Texas Government Dual Credit course available to Del Rio High School students as presented.
If you heard the recommendation, I will entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Amy Haynes. Is there a second to the motion? Mr. Smith? All those in favor? Ms. Gonzalez? In favor? Amy Haynes in favor? Linda Webb? In favor? Mr. Smith? In favor? Mr. Orfeld? In favor? Mr. Contreras had left the meeting. I vote in favor. Motion carries by 6 votes. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Rios.
We're still not ready. We can still continue with the rest of the agenda.
You want us to continue and not come back to 10E yet?
Yes, sir. Not yet.
Okay. Then we go to item 11B, consideration to approve the submittal of the 2nd and 3rd year waiver for full day pre-K for Irene Cardwell pre-K school to the Texas Education Agency for the 2020, 2021, and 2021-2022 school year. I guess we have Ruby Adams.
Hi, good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. Earlier this evening, the public hearing was held with information regarding the solicitation of partnerships and waiver requirements for Irene C. Cardwell, and no proposals were received. Are there any questions?
Questions from board members? Hearing none, the recommendation, please.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve for the superintendent to submit a 2nd and 3rd year waiver to the Texas Education Agency for full day pre-kindergarten for Irene C. Cardwell pre-kindergarten school for the 2020, 2021, and the 2021 and 2022 school year.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion for approval, board members. Motion made by Mr. Orfeld, seconded by Mrs. Webb. All those in favor, Ms. Gonzalez? In favor, Ms. Webb? In favor, Amy Haynes? In favor, Mr. Smith? In favor, Mr. Orfeld? In favor, myself in favor. Motion carries by 6 votes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're ready, Mr. Mesa.
Okay, we're gonna go back to 10E. Again, consideration to approve the first reading of TASB policy update 115 affecting Policy DED, local compensation benefits, vacation holidays, a localized policy update affecting policy DCE, local employment practices, other types of contracts. Sandra Edmonds. Sandra, my only question had to do with, again, employees, 12-month employees being able to accrue vacation days for the following year. Correct?
I don't know that Sandra's back in the presentation room yet, Mr. Mesa, but
Okay.
the policy that we're approving obviously moved everything to the regulation. And what I have here on the screen is what the regulation looks like right now. And I've highlighted those areas that address vacation days, which used to previously be called non-duty days. And as soon as Sandra gets back, she'll signal she's there and she can be part of the conversation.
Yeah, I am here. I am.
Okay.
I see my question has to do with the second paragraph there. Highlighted.
So I'll read it out loud just for discussion purposes, Mr. Mesa. It says an employee shall use vacation days by the last day of the employee's annual work schedule in which the vacation days are earned. An employee has the option to carry over any unused vacation days for 1 calendar year. So after June 30th, when the school calendar year is over, if a 12-month employee hasn't been able to use their vacation days, they can carry them over for 1 year. But at the end of the next 12 months, any of those days not used would be lost.
Okay. I mean, I just want to make sure I understand that because it's favorable for teachers. I mean, this pandemic year, where do you want to go on vacation? Disneyland? So it's proper. It's good for teachers if they're able to, again, save those years, save those days for the following year.
So just to clarify, teacher is not a 12-month employee. So
Okay,
yeah.
Administrative then.
Uh-huh.
Anyone that works 12 months. 226.
Yes, sir.
Questions? Amy, you have a question, Amy? I think your mic is muted.
Fair question. Yes.
Your microphone is muted.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking, could you say it again for me just one more time? So go ahead, Sandra, say it for me one more time.
The 12-month employee, a teacher is not classified as that 12-month employee.
So they don't qualify for this.
It's not that they don't qualify. The things they're not affected by it because they don't have vacation days as outlined in this policy.
Oh, okay. I'm good now because I was in thought. I guess Mr. Mesa saw me thinking. I was like, wait a minute. That makes me feel better. Thank you. Sorry.
Right.
Thank you, Amy. Ms. Webb, you had your hand raised.
Yes, so my question is, if teachers do not use sick leave, those can carry over, correct?
Yes, ma'am. And there's a policy that addresses that. So sick leave awarded by the state carries over indefinitely, year after year after year, until you retire. And then the local leave days awarded by the district, there's a policy that addresses that you can sell up to 60 days at half your daily rate when you retire. Those also carry over indefinitely until you retire.
So you have local leave, sick leave, and vacation leave.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just clarifying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? That was my only question, Sandra. I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, 12-month employee, I'm glad that you mentioned that. And anybody that works could be an administrator, more than likely. Okay, we understand it. Do you want to read the recommendation then?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the first reading of TASB Policy Update 115 affecting Policy DED Local, Compensation and Benefits, Vacation, and Holidays, and the Localized Policy Update affecting DCE Local, Employment Practices, Other Types of Contracts.
Thank you. Is there a motion for approval? You've heard the recommendation. Motion made by Mr. Webb, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor, Ms. Gonzalez? In favor, Linda Webb? In favor, Amy Haynes? In favor, Mr. Smith? In favor, and Mr. Orfeld? In favor, and myself in favor. Motion carries by 6 affirmative votes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Go to item 13A, consideration to approve the 2021-2022 budget development calendar. Amy Childress.
Good evening once again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. The budget calendar listing critical dates for the preparation, submission, and review of campus and department budgets for the school district is prepared during the budget planning process at the district level. The budget development calendar will guide the fiscal year 2021-2022 district budget process. I have attached the first proposed budget calendar. I would just like to remind the board that we will be starting this process earlier this year because we will be ending our fiscal year June 30th. So our budget will need to be adopted by that date. And also that there could be possible changes to the dates as we go forward with the year.
Entertain any question from board members? I think all of us can see the budget calendar there, and we always have some date changes on the workshop.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Any questions? If none, then recommendation, please.
All right. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the budget development calendar to guide the fiscal year 2021-2022 budgeting process.
You've read the recommendation. There's a motion for approval from Mr. Smith. Is there a second? Mrs. Webb? All those in favor? Diana Gonzalez? In favor? Mrs. Webb? In favor? Amy Haynes? In favor? Mr. Smith? In favor? And Ms. Orfield? In favor? And myself in favor. Motion carries by 6 affirmative votes. Thank you very much. We go on to item 13B, consideration to approve resolution regarding review of the investment policy CDA local to include independent sources of instruction for the training of investment officers. Resolution adopting authorized broker dealer list and resolution regarding review of the investment policy. Amy Childress.
Good evening once more. The Board of Trustees shall review the investment policy and investment strategy and adopt a written instrument resolution stating that it has been reviewed and to record any changes made to CDA local. The investment advisor, Patterson and Associates, has made recommendations for the changes being presented to CDA local. The first reading was presented at the November 16th, 2020 regular board meeting. And you have with you a copy of the changes that were presented, as well as the updated policy, since this is the second reading. And this policy also covers the resolutions for you to sign for our local, for our brokers, and for the reviewing of the policy.
Questions from board members? Hearing none, the recommendation, please.
All right. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution regarding review of the investment policy CDA local.
You've heard the recommendation from administration. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mrs. Webb, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Ms. Gonzalez, in favor? Linda Webb? In favor? Amy Haynes? In favor? Mr. Smith? In favor? Mr. Orfeld? In favor? And myself in favor. Motion is carried by 6 affirmative votes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the time is 8:13 p.m. We will go into executive session permitted by sections 551.074 and 551.071. If a vote is required, it will be taken upon reconvening into open session. We're now in closed session. Okay, the time is 8:53 p.m. We're going to reconvene into open session. No action was taken in executive session. We're down to item 18A, consideration to approve the personnel report to include the following. District vacancies, retirements, new hires. Aide Garcia.
Yes, good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Erica Fiscal as a third grade teacher for Ruben Chavita Elementary.
With the recommendation from the administration, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Ken Smith. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor, Ms. Gonzalez? In favor, Mrs. Webb? In favor, Mr. Smith? In favor, Mr. Orfeld? In favor, Amy Haynes? In favor, and myself in favor. Motion carries by 6 unanimous votes. Next item that we have is item 18B, consideration to approve the position of counselor for Del Rio Middle School, 7th grade, Aide Garcia.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Melissa Rivas as counselor at Del Rio Middle School, 7th grade.
You've heard the recommendation from administration. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Smith, seconded by Mrs. Webb. All those in favor, Ms. Gonzalez? Favor, Ms. Webb? In favor, Mr. Smith? In favor, Mr. Orfeld? In favor, Amy Haynes? In favor, and myself. In favor. Motion carries by 6 unanimous votes. Consideration to approve the position of registered nurse at San Felipe Memorial Middle School, Aide Garcia.
And that one's going to be tabled because we have an internal transfer.
Okay. Item 18C is again tabled. We go to item 18D, consideration to approve the position of accountant for finance department, Aide Garcia.
Yes, sir. It is a recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Teresa Yelepik as accountant.
We've heard the recommendation from administration. There's a motion made by Mr. Smith, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor, Ms. Gonzalez? In favor, Mr. Webb? In favor, Mr. Smith? In favor, M. Sorfeld? In favor, Amy Haynes? In favor, and myself in favor. 6 affirmative votes. Motion passes. There being no other items on the agenda, is there a motion for adjournment? Motion made by Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Orfeld. All those in favor? Diana Gonzalez in favor, Mrs. Webb, Mr. Smith, Mr. Orfeld in favor, Amy Haynes in favor, and myself in favor. Good night, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight.